An American sailor fighting the Japanese is once stranded on an unknown deserted island where there are no people except for one woman and there is nothing to eat, but still they have to survive, and in the end, you will see whether the two of them will be able to get out of this island. In today's video, and you are watching the best of Hollywood and today's movie, Heaven Knows Mr. Allison. The story of the movie begins by showing a boat in the open sea, and there is a person in this boat whose name is Alison. Alison is not an ordinary person, but he is a member of the United States Navy, and he's been trained in such a way that he can survive not only in water, but also on land. But currently, he is floating in a small boat, and this is because the Japanese soldiers have destroyed his submarine, and this is his 7th day, and for these 7 days, he has been living only by drinking rainwater. Now, while walking like this, he reaches a small island, and when he enters there, he is surprised because there are 1 or 2 houses here, but no one lives here. But he is lucky. He sees a church there, and he notices a woman in white working as a sweeper in the church. Now he is even more surprised to see this because, first of all, there is a church in such a secluded place, and there is only one woman there, so it surprises him. Now this woman is very scared at first because she thinks it is her enemy, but later when she comes to know that she is a soldier, she takes her into her church. This woman says her name is Angela, and she is trapped on this island because she was chased by the Japanese army because at this time there is a war going on all around, and especially this Japanese army was targeting every woman in the church, and they were capturing them and sending them to an island called Fiji. Angela says that when she first entered here, some indigenous people from Fiji Island were living in this place, but they left here due to the persecution of the Japanese. She also says that I was not only alone here, but there was a priest named Philip with me, but he was trapped by the Japanese and died. Angela shows Alison the place where she buried Father Philip. Alison notices that Angela's words are absolutely true. There is a grave at this place. Alison asks her, "Why did you stay here when you could have gone to Fiji Island with the rest of the natives?" Angela says, "I didn't want to stay here, but I couldn't go alone, so I started waiting here just hoping for the American soldiers, because I thought they would at least come here for help. But later I found out that the sea routes to get here were occupied by the Japanese, so my last hope was lost. But by the grace of God, I am still alive here." Now hearing this, Alison's heart is filled with hope, so promises him that as long as I am here, you don't have to worry because I will get you out of here safely, and she makes a plan for this. She will make a board with the help of which the two of them will start their journey from here. But for now, they need to eat, and Angela is very worried. There is not much food, so Alison and Angela go to a forest on this island to find food, where Alison gets several coconuts from a coconut tree, and they also collect several fruit. But Alison has a target. She will catch fish, and for this reason, she goes to a nearby bamboo grove and cuts a thin bamboo from there to catch fish. But in the meantime, she hears the sound of a pig. She notices that the sound is coming from a nearby cave, so she enters this cave very carefully. But the problem is that there is another path in that cave, so the pig leaves through that path. Meanwhile, Angela sees a turtle in the sea. She immediately tells Alison about it. Alison realizes that this is her chance to catch this turtle, so she and Angela immediately run to the sea. Alison takes her piece of bamboo and a rope in her hand. The two of them get on her board and go down into the sea, and their target is this turtle. Now at first, Alison tied the turtle well with her rope, but the next moment, the turtle threw Alison upside down into the water. And seeing this scene, Angela, who does not know how to swim, got very scared, but Angela does not know this. Alison is very expert in these things, so in a few minutes, she took the turtle back to her boat. Now the two of them cooked the food they'd collected sitting in one place, and then they started eating it after satisfying their heart. Here Alison tells her that she has completed a journey of hundreds of miles only in her small boat. Even she was an orphan since childhood, and since the age of 14, started working hard to become a Navy soldier. Now hearing this, Angela shares some of her thoughts with her. She says, "I was also an orphan once, but now I am not an orphan because God is with me now." Like this, they keep talking, and at one time they both see a plane in the sky, which is a Japanese plane, and seeing this scene, both of them get very worried because they do not have any weapons, so Alison immediately takes Angela to the cave that she saw when she confessed. Now this is how they spend the night in this cave. But in the morning, Alison wakes up to the sound of a terrible explosion. This explosion was caused by none other than the Japanese soldiers themselves with the help of their fighter jets. Now when the explosion stops, Alison slowly comes out of her cave and she notices that the things that were necessary for their survival have been destroyed. Even the board she had planned to leave from here has also been destroyed. As a result, their problems become more complicated devastated because now they have no food and no place to stay. Alison is very worried. The next morning, their problems increase when the Japanese soldiers enter this island to make their headquarters. Now, the two of them see this scene and return to their cave. Alison tells Angela to sit quietly and even asks her to stop breathing. But some time passes and these Japanese soldiers leave this place. As a result, Angel decides to surrender so that Alison can survive, but Alison refuses to do so. He tells her that if you surrender, they will kill you and they will not leave here, so you sit here quietly. Now it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon and it is getting dark, so Alison takes this opportunity to slowly get out of her cave and go to the beach to catch some fish because they have no food. She uses her talent to easily catch a big fish, but before she can return to the cave, a board suddenly appears in front of her and she starts observing the surroundings with a flashlight. Alison realizes that they are the Japanese army, so she immediately uses her survival skills to hide there, and this hiding is so natural that the Japanese soldier cannot see her even from in front of her. Similarly, Alison also immerses herself in the water until this soldier leaves, and at one point when the soldier leaves, Alison returns to the cave and then the two of them start eating the fish he caught together. But the problem is that Alison can eat this raw fish, but Angela cannot because it is not her habit. Similarly, they do not have any fuel to cook this fish, so Angela sits without eating. Now Alison feels very bad seeing all this, so she leaves her cave again in the dark of the night and goes straight to the Japanese soldiers' camp, and her only goal is to get some food for Angela no matter what. Now since this tree is very risky, but just then two Japanese soldiers enter that room. Alison immediately hides herself in a corner of the room and lies quietly in a bunker above. She notices that these soldiers are preparing everything for drinking here, so she understands that if she waits for a while, they will get very drunk, and then she can complete her work, but this wait becomes so long that Angela, who is sitting in the cave, is very worried because the night has gone deep, and she went out in the evening but has not returned yet. Meanwhile, she is still lying quietly. Even rats come on her, and they start biting her as they wish, but Alison does not move at all because this food is very important to her, and like this a few more hours pass, and at one point she notices that these two soldiers are very drunk, and at this opportunity, she slowly leaves this room. She comes out and sees that it is morning and several soldiers are standing here, so she is forced to hide there again, and when those soldiers get busy with their work at that very opportunity, Alison starts running straight from here and goes to the cave where Angela is. Now when Angela sees Alison, tears come to her eyes because she believed that maybe she is no longer alive, but suddenly seeing her tears of joy come out of her eyes, Angela tells her with a voice. From then on, Alison realizes how much his not telling Angela has scared her, so he gives her a rose to cheer her up, and this plan works. Seeing that Angela's face is smiling, he takes this opportunity to tell Angela what he thinks. He asks her, "Is it possible that you will ever give up this nun's profession and become a normal woman as seen everywhere?" In fact, the purpose of this is only one thing, and that is that Alison has started loving her, but Angela clearly tells her that she is now on a religious line, and in this line she loves only God and she loves no one else. Now Alison is a little disappointed to hear this, and just then she hears the sound of several bombs outside. The two of them immediately come out of the cave and notice that the Japanese soldiers who were here have left. Now seeing all this, the two of them are very happy and wander around happily. But the problem is that they do not have any board with which they can leave here, so they are stuck here. Although now there is no problem with food like before, because the Japanese have already left a lot of food and a place to stay here. Now these two start using these things well. At night, Angela plans to cook rice using Japanese rice, but as she does so, she finds a bottle of wine in the rice sack. Now since she does not know much about this thing, she immediately gives it to Alison. Now Alison is very happy to get this thing. She even asks Angela to have a drink with her in this happiness, but Angela does not finish it. Similarly, she refuses to let Alison drink this drink, but Alison does not listen to her, but she finishes the entire bottle, which results in the thing that Angela was afraid of, which is that Alison starts talking bad words to Angela while drunk and tries to force her to drink. Seeing all this, Angela gets very scared and does not stay here for a moment, but in the darkness of the night, she starts running straight through the forest and it is raining outside. As a result, Angela fell ill in a very short time. The next morning, when Alison's intoxication wore off, she immediately went out to find Angela and found her lying in the middle of the forest. She immediately took her to the cave where they had taken shelter for a while. She noticed that Angela was shaking a lot due to fever, so she gave her clothes to Angela, but it was of no use because she had become hypothermic deck due to the rain. Meanwhile, the Japanese army returned to their house, which made Alison's worries increase once again, but she did not give up. She once again sneaked into the Japanese army camp and stole some clothes for Angela. She went there and did it, but at that moment a Japanese army saw her. Alison also had no way out, so she killed the Japanese army and threw them into the nearby sea. Then she returned to her cave and gave Angela the clothes and some food she had brought. Now when Angela regained consciousness, Alison was all alone. First, he apologizes to her because it is because of her that Angela is in this situation. However, their problems return once again when the Japanese soldiers find the body of one of their army members who Alison killed. So the senior commander of the Japanese soldiers orders everyone to destroy the entire island. Now these soldiers start dropping bombs all over the island, as their commander said, due to which Alison and Angela hide in that cave, and Angela has no choice but to pray to God, and her prayer works because the company soldiers drop bombs all around but do not drop bombs in their cave. They even cannot find this cave. Now in the midst of all this, Alison suddenly hears the sound of some planes. She immediately goes outside and her heart becomes happy because these planes are American planes, due to which each of them kills the Japanese soldiers. Now in a short while this war will end, but Alison realizes that their problems are not over yet because the Japanese soldiers are here. There are many bombs and they have to be defused first, so she starts to defuse those bombs one by one, but while doing so, Alison's body gets a big injury and blood starts flowing from there. Now seeing all this, Angela treats Alison, and in this situation, Alison tells her once again that maybe this is their last moment because after that they don't know how they will survive. Similarly, there is no way out of here, but Angela makes her understand that you are a person who makes all kinds of sorrows go away, and that's what happened to me too, so even if we don't meet again, you will always be in my mind. Now while talking like this, the two of them become quite thoughtful, and just then, surprising them, American soldiers come to this island in an American ship and take them both safely from here. This story ends here. Keep watching Best of Hollywood.